Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome to another episode of Life of Brian. Hope everyone's having a wonderful day out there. I am making the commute home in my 2008 Honda S2000. And thought I would shoot a quick video, guys, on whether or not you should purchase a S2K for yourself. I've had this car since about 2018-ish. And the great thing about this car, first and foremost, of course, it being a Honda, is its bulletproof reliability. I love the fact that I can literally let this car sit for weeks longer given, and I'm 100% sure that when I get in the car, turn the key, it's going to start up every single time, no issue. Ironically enough, my stability control light has been on for a minute. Doesn't really affect anything, but other than that, I haven't had any issues. No check engine lights, nothing major. Haven't had to do any major work or repair on the car since I've had it for the past 5-6 years. And again, just so reliable. That's what I love about Hondas and Toyotas, guys. I've owned a lot of cars in my life, and you just do not beat a reliability of a Honda or a Toyota. That doesn't apply to all Japanese cars, but primarily Hondas and Toyotas. Just bulletproof. They just will get you from point A to point B, and when you're riding an S2000, it makes it that much more rewarding. But what are some of my other thoughts on whether or not you should purchase an S2000? Well, from a usability standpoint, guys, it's not very practical at all. Sorry, closing one of my vents. It's kind of cramped, as I'm sure you guys know. For those of you guys who been in an S2K, own an S2K, it's pretty cramped, and you're not going to have the ability to really haul or store really anything. There's no cup holders. There's no glove compartment. There's very little to no storage. You have these little hilarious pockets netting here that holds random things, but again, no glove compartment. You know, the center console is pretty laughable as well. So there's really no storage here. Of course, you can carry a passenger, no back seat. Trunk is, it's all right. But obviously on the small side as well. No frunk, of course. So practicality wise, it is a bit of a compromise to drive this car for any sort of daily commute, or any sort of daily driver. I don't think it's an option. I knew someone once who, his S2K was his only car. Actually, no, I take that back. He had another car as well. And but maybe I think he had an S2K just for a little bit, and that was his only car. But you have to make a lot of compromises with this car in terms of usability. If it's just you don't have kids, you don't have a girlfriend or a spouse or a significant other who doesn't like riding in a noisy car, then this is a good car for you. But that's another thing about this car, guys. It's very noisy in here. You can't tell right now because I'm in bumper-to-bumper traffic, but I have the OEM hard top. These, of course, came standard with the normal, canvas soft top. But I had the hard top installed because I like the look of it. I like the lines, specifically the side profile that the hard top gives the car. Obviously, it gives it more structural rigidity and makes it a little bit less noisy. Not, it's certainly not a Rolls Royce in here, but it makes it a little bit, maybe like 30-40% quieter. But yeah, when I'm on a phone, it's almost impossible to have a phone call in this car. It's just some of the rattles and shakes, obviously, but just the noise. That's kind of annoying about this car, to be sure. So that's why I was saying, guys, if you have a girlfriend or a wife or someone who likes talking to you constantly, or maybe that's a good thing, I don't know, and you actually want to hear what they're saying, this is not a good car for you. Not a good car if you have kids, not a good car if you have to haul stuff or store stuff. Gas mileage is okay. You have your legendary 6-speed, which again, a lot of people love, or a lot of people think it's like the greatest thing ever. I find it to be slightly notchy, not one of my favorites, but it's not bad. It's certainly not bad at all. And so from a driver engagement, from a fun factor standpoint, it's definitely a fun car to have as a weekend car, as a second or third car, definitely. But definitely as a daily driver, as a main car, I don't know about that, guys. What else about this Honda S2000? Oh, okay. So the I've mentioned this in some of my other video, guys, but the VTEC, right? The fact that you really have to kind of wring out the engine, you really have to work for the power. The already basically non-existent torque doesn't really kick in until like you're above 6,500 RPM. I don't really like that driving dynamic of the vehicle. I like instant gratitude, instant torque, instant speed, instant power, and you're absolutely not going to get that in this car. You definitely have to work for it. And again, this car already had, I think, less than 200 in the NA1 and the NA2, I think less than 200 torque. The horsepower got a little bit of a bump. I think this is 235, 240 maybe. But you know, I mean, it's a light car, it's a small car, but still, the torque is definitely underwhelming. And I think I mentioned that this car is my favorite car, the easiest car I have to drive quickly. Not fast, it's not a fast car, but to drive quickly. To kind of, if I need to kind of dart in and out or just kind of maneuver or be very agile, this is a very, very, very fun car to do that in. Handling is good. I know a lot of people don't like the way the car handles, or specifically the feedback through the steering wheel. But you know, I mean, it's not you're not going to track this car, and it's not meant for racings or anything like that. I think it's, you know, curvy roads, canyon roads, just kind of a nice cruise. It's definitely gonna be rewarding in that sense, but you're not going to win races in the car, to be sure. And you know, it's a fun car to have. In a weird way, I kind of find myself, how should I say this, forcing myself to drive this more often. And I mean that from the standpoint of, a lot of times I will prefer to drive something else rather than hopping in the S2000. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's noisy. Maybe it's because of the lack of a cup holder, lack of storage space. It's a little cramped. The shifter isn't my favorite, and again, the fact that you have to really work for your power and wring out the engine, and the whiny, and the sounds like the engine's going to explode on you. That is not really my favorite part of the S2000. But again, it does make it unique. I know a lot of people, that's like their favorite thing about the S2000. But for me, I think those are probably the main reasons why I usually don't have this as my go-to car. And as blasphemous as it may sound, I have considered selling it or trading it in on a couple of occasions. Never have gone through with it. But in the list of my cars that I would never get rid of, this is not extremely high on that list. Let's just put it that way. I definitely would consider parting with this car before my NSX, before my RX-7, before my Supra, before a lot of my cars. But it is a very fun car that when you haven't driven it for a bit, you kind of get that smile on your face. You get that enjoyment from kind of getting in a nice, proper roadster and just ringing it out and having a good time. But when I drive it for any sort of consistent period of time, it does kind of lose its luster to me, and that's maybe one of the reasons why I don't drive it as much as I do my other cars. But yeah, I just again, guys, I'm in my commute home. I just thought I'd do a quick video on whether or not this car might be a good fit for your garage. They're still relatively affordable. I'm to be honest with you guys, I have not looked at prices on these for a good minute, but NA2s, of course the club racers, the CRs are probably the most expensive, but an NA2 in good shape, good condition, stock, I would recommend getting, well, then again, I recommend getting basically all cars stock, right? But these cars in particular, I think are becoming a little bit more difficult to find stock. I don't think it's as difficult as trying to find, for example, a Mark IV Supra or a RX-7 FD, unmolested, untouched. These are, again, a little bit easier to find in stock condition. Mine's 100% stock, but I definitely would get them now. Don't wait, guys, because I don't think these prices, the values on these S2000s have held pretty steadily, especially since I got mine. Even before then, I always kind of looked at them and window shopped, but you know, there's a good chance there's never going to be another iteration of the S2K made, especially everything's, you know, going EV and whatnot, and roadsters are not exactly high sellers, top sellers for really most of or any brands. They're just not, you know, people want SUVs, people want crossovers, or, you know, if you're an enthusiast, you know, there's other options than a roadster. But you know, the Z4 I think is also going away, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm sure there's other roadsters out there on the market right now, but the C4 is really the only one that comes to mind at the time. So, but yeah, I mean, I definitely would grab one of these guys. They're reliable, they're bulletproof, they're fun to drive, but not very practical, and I don't think a great option for a daily driver for the reasons I mentioned. But, you know, hey, if you can afford it, if you find one in good condition, definitely pick one up, because at least from my personal experience, from what I've heard, it's one of those cars, as long as you find one that's, you know, well sorted and doesn't have a checker pass, it's going to treat you well, it's going to be good to you, and you're not going to be you know, buying something that's going to become a money pit, which is always a concern when you buy a used car, especially a used sports car. So I hope some of this was helpful or enjoyable to you guys. Give the video a thumbs up, comment below, like, subscribe to support the channel. I hope to catch you guys in the next video. Take care, bye bye.